Business Intelligence and Data Analytics, organized by School of Computer Sciences, Puneshlok Ahilyadevi Holkar, Solapur University. This webinar is presided by Honorable Dr. Mladenbhai Fadnavis, Vice Chancellor, Puneshlok Ahilyadevi Holkar, Solapur University, Solapur. Honorable Dr. D.N. Mishra, Mishra Sir, Pro Vice Chancellor, Puneshlok Ahilyadevi Holkar, Solapur University. And the host of this webinar is Professor Dr. Vikas Bhute Sir, who is Director, School of Computer Sciences, Puneshlok Ahilyadevi Holkar, Solapur University, also in charge Registrar, Puneshlok Ahilyadevi Holkar, Solapur University. And for this webinar, we have with us as a resource person, a keynote speaker, Mr. Piyush Agrawal, who is Head Pre-Sales South Asia at Cloud Area Mumbai. I welcome all the student participants, colleagues, and members of organizing committee in this webinar. Now, I would like to request Professor Dr. Vikas Bhute Sir, Director, School of Computer Sciences, to address the gathering with their welcome speech. Thank you. Over to Bhute Sir. Bhute Sir, please unmute yourself. Yes, sir.
May I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Good evening to all. First of all, I would like to welcome all colleague members, resource person, participant viewers in the webinar on Business Intelligence and Big Data Analytics organized by School of Computational Sciences, Puneshlok Ahilyadevi Holkar, Solapur University, Solapur. With due respect towards the kind motivation of our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Mrinalini Fadnavis Madam, the School of Computational Sciences has organized this webinar. The theme of this webinar is based on recent happenings that took all of us to have digital transformation of our business while using artificial intelligence and handling of big data in digital world. For this webinar, we have with us Mr. Piyush Agrawal from South Asia at Cloudera, Mumbai, to address the participant viewers with recent advances in business intelligence and big data analytics. Let me introduce the profile of School of Computational Sciences to these viewers. The School of Computational Sciences has its Department for Postgraduate Studies in Computer Science and Applications, Statistics, Biostatistics, and Mathematics. The school has set its benchmark in research and development with quality publications and research awards. The alumni of our school are at government positions. Some of them have established their multinational companies. With this, once again, I welcome today's resource person, Mr. Piyush Sir, and all colleague members and all participant viewers for joining this webinar on business intelligence and big data analytics. Wish you all happy learning. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for the welcome speech. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Raju Mente, sir, who is the Head Department of Computer Application, to introduce about our today's chief guest, rather as a keynote speaker, Mr. Piyush Agrawal. Over to Dr. Mente, sir.
Good evening, all. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please proceed.
Okay. Good evening, all. Welcome to this webinar on business intelligence and big data analytics. Friends, it's my great pleasure to introduce today's keynote speaker, Mr. Piyush Agrawal. Mr. Piyush Agrawal is working as Head Pre-Sales South Asia at Cloudera, Mumbai. Our today's speaker, Mr. Piyush Agrawal, is a BI and Big Data Analytics Pre-Sales Leader and Solution Architect with 16 plus years of rich experience in empowering enterprise customers across industry verticals such as BFSI, telecom manufacturing, and large conglomerates in gaining insights from the data using BI and big data analytics and platform. In the past, he worked with Teradata, and Capgemini, where technically led and managed many large DW and BI implementation and migration projects successfully for big enterprises. In current roles, Piyush heads pre-sales for India and South Asia, supporting enterprises in accelerating their business growth by enabling more customer acquisition and stickiness, bringing operational efficiency and reducing risk and fraud through Cloudera hybrid and multi-cloud edge to AI solutions. This is a brief introduction of our today's keynote speaker, Mr. Piyush Agrawal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mente sir. Now, for what we are eagerly waiting is the talk rather as an interaction meet with Mr. Piyush on business intelligence and big data analytics. Now, I would like to request Mr. Piyush sir to deliver his talk on business intelligence and big data analytics. Prior to that, let me know you that, sir, that this webinar for which we have invited the students from MSc Computer Science, MCA background, and also the students from statistics and biostatistics, and some of the students from mathematics are also participating. Besides that, the colleague members of our 4 department belonging with their background having math, stats, and biostat as a computer science and application, they are also participating in this webinar. So now I will open this, you can say, meet for having a dialogue with you. Whatever you want to share as a PowerPoint presentation or to have just a dialogue between the, you can say, a participant over here. So I request all the participants, if they have any type of, you can say, a dialogue to have with Mr. Piyush. There is a, you can say, panel onto the panel. There is an option, raise hand. So you can pinpoint that option, and Mr. Piyush will address the sort of questions you are going to ask, or rather the kind of discussion you want to have over onto the type of topic he is going to discuss over there. So with this, I will hand over this meet and session to Mr. Piyush to deliver his, you can say, talk on business intelligence and big data analytics. Thank you. Over to Mr. Piyush.
Yep. Thank you, Rod sir. I hope I'm very much audible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You please proceed.
So first of all, it's a great pleasure to be here back among the students. So I'm really honored for being invited as a guest speaker. Thank you very much, sir. Like I haven't prepared much around what I should be talking, but still, like when I compared my journey of 16 years and when I look back where I started, right, I thought that there were certain elements which, if I knew 16 years back, would have definitely helped me in making a better decision around my career, around the options, the career options that I would take during within my like career path, right? So with that, what I'll do is I've prepared a brief presentation where I'll give you a quick view of how technology is being used around the industry. You guys know technology, but it's important for us to have a view around the business side also, right? That how the technology is being used. So that's what I'm trying to cover during the next 15-20 minutes. And then I would like to make it very interactive, because the idea is not to like put a lot of information around it. What I want is to answer queries that what lies beyond the college, right? So when you get into the field and you start working, what can you expect from the organization, enterprises, how you will leverage your learning that you are having within the college, right? How you can leverage that and apply that into the real world problem solving. So that is what I'm trying to discuss in next 15-20 minutes. So let me bring my presentation. All right. Is that visible, everyone?
Yes,
can
sir.
You see my
Yes,
so before we get into that, I just thought, let me have a level setting with everyone, so I know from a technology side how much of these terminologies or words the team is familiar with. So you know these words: RDBMS, data warehouse, Hadoop, AI and ML, cloud, big data. Have you ever heard of these terms? Can anyone tell me? Have you guys heard this? I'm pretty sure these words may not be alien to the team. I mean, to the students who have logged in, right? So, can someone tell me all these if I combine together, what exactly these are used for? Anyone can take a hit or shot on this.
Participant can unmute themselves and can have a dialogue with Mr. Piyush sir.
Yeah, I mean, the more interactive it will be, the better understanding I'll be able to give. So, uh, looking for some volunteer who can take a shot on this. If I combine all this, what exactly I can do with these technologies that I've put across? No try, no problem. So, it pretty much relate to the topic that we are going to be covering. It's about the analytics world, right? So when we talk about industries, we talk about the data driven organization, right? These terminologies like database, data warehouse, AI, ML, cloud computing, big data, Hadoop, all these are kind of synonym to each other in the sense that they all enable the enterprises to make decisions based on the insights coming from the data, right? But the question is why you want to generate insights from the data. I mean, what exactly is driving the businesses to look into the data and figure out the core, core insights out of it, right? So if you see, you pick up any enterprise, any business, or for that matter, even a small kirana shop. I mean, there are three things which are pioneer into any business element, right? One is the businessman is always trying to grow their business. When I say grow, I mean they're looking to gain more customers. So the first element of that business growth is that I want to acquire more and more customers. The second element is any customers who have acquired, I would want them to stick to my business, right? Whatever, if I'm selling something or if I'm providing any services. So that's one important element of the business. The second side is when I'm acquiring customers, actually I'm also investing in the operational efforts, right? So I will have a sales team, I will have a product team, I will have a supply chain management, right? I mean, I have fleets of truck depending upon what business I'm in. But there would be different operations which are coming together to deliver those services or product to the customers, right? So there's an operational element involved in the business. So when a business starts growing, one factor is how I can generate revenue. But when I also look for operational efficiency after a certain point in time where I want to reduce the losses which are happening around the operational side of it, right? I mean, I want to bring the efficiency. If I need 4 people to do a job, can I do the same thing in one using one person, right? So that kind of efficiency we're talking about where the business focuses primarily, right? And the third and the important part is that a lot of the enterprises are governed under the regulatory body. For example, telcos are covered under the TRAI. The banks are covered under the RBI. The stock exchange are covered under SEBI, right? So in that sense, I mean, there's always a regulatory body which is ensuring that whatever the businesses that are being run, they are following certain standards and compliances to ensure that there's no fraud happening within those enterprises, right? And also the customer investment is secured, right? And there are multiple elements. So these are the three core pillars around which the entire enterprises surrounds, and that's where drives the primary need of technology adoption. So I will try to map it that how these three things contribute to the technology advancement as we move forward. But any question on this, guys? I mean, do you understand the three core concept of the business? Because what I'm trying to give in today's presentation is the business side of the industry, where you will be leveraging your technology and applying those technology learnings to solve the real world problems. It could be anywhere in these lines. So Does that sound good? Any question so far? I know I've just started, but I'm just trying to uh, uh, check whether this is something which you have heard, or this is the first time you're hearing. I need some uh, like someone to respond, because would want this to be a bit interactive. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I'll move forward. Let's see if later on we'll be able to connect to these things. If we see for a, like, when we look at the decision making process, like for these driving these businesses, right? I mean, there's an evolution which has happened, and the analytics. I mean, look at it from this point, right? That uh, to to grow a business, or to scale the business, I need to make decision, right? I mean, there is a top management sitting, and they're looking into the operation, they're looking into the sales, and they want to understand that what more they should do to scale the business to the next level, right? And they want to analyze the information or the data which is which is being captured into the day-to-day using the day-to-day operation, and then they're leveraging that to make those decisions, right? So if we see the way this entire thing has been evolved over the period, I mean, initially when the technology was started, people were mostly focusing on understanding what happened, right? They were very reactive in nature. What happened, why it happened, right? They were trying to understand the problems which has happened in the business, and they're trying to understand the root cause because of which that event happened, right? So the analytics were trying to answer questions which are very static in nature. So I already know a problem which has happened in my business. Now I'm trying to relate and scan the data and trying to understand why that problem has happened, what kind of problem has happened, right? It was always reactive in nature. So there's a very little that businesses can do to reduce the losses which were happening, right? And the decision making process also was not very real time, right? So as a result, the opportunities, the business real opportunities were not captured fully. So if you see from the batch, it started becoming a bit more real time, where now as someone is let's say someone is walking into a mall, and since you are carrying a mobile phone, and there's an app running on it which is capturing your location data, it has your phone number attached to a bank account or a Paytm. I mean, the bank customer or the Paytm guy or the Amazon guy knows that here is my customer who is in this mall. Why not I send him a offer around a let's say a Pizza Hut or a Domino's outlet, saying that there is a 40% discount coupon available within the Domino's outlet right there in the mall, right? So now I'm trying to create an opportunity and trying to capitalize on it. But that can only happen when I know where my customer is, right? So that real time information was quite important, right? I mean, I'm trying to capture what exactly is happening, what is the current state of my business, and that's where, and then the element of data science and machine learning starts coming in, right? I mean, now instead of being reactive, I want to start predicting that what is the possibility that a person who is in a mall X will go to Pizza Hut versus Domino's. So instead of sending him Domino's offer, I will send him Pizza Hut, because the propensity of that customer to eat in a Pizza Hut is higher than the Domino's, right? So now, based on the behavior pattern, the person will already know that yes, this is a more appropriate offer for the end customer versus the general one which was coming in, right? So this is where the data science and machine learning comes in. And when we talk about artificial intelligence, now artificial intelligence is something which is always mixed with the data science and machine learning, but that's not the case, right? The critical difference between these two is, while the data science and machine learning is helping me to predict what can happen, artificial intelligence is actually enabling me to take that prediction and apply it into the decision making process. So instead of manually applying that decision, I'm using the system to take that prediction and apply it into the real time. I'll give you an example that instead of so the data science, when I'm running a car, whatever the data which is collected through the car sensors is I'm using to make a decision whether I should turn a right, I should turn left, or I should apply the brake, right? Now, if I am taking those decisions based on the data, and as a driver, I'm applying those decisions, then probably it's still a manual intelligence that I'm applying. Now, take out that manual side of it. Now, if I bring that intelligence right into the car and tell the car to take a right turn or a left turn based on the environmental condition they have, and the decision making is shifted from manual to the car, that's where artificial intelligence comes in. So it's like augmenting the human intelligence with the machine, and that's where we start saying that instead of enabling humans to take those decisions, now I'm asking machines to take those decisions based on behalf of us. So that is the way the evolution has happened, right? And now if I start looking at these organizations which I was talking about, whether it could be telco, it could be BFSI, or it could be regulatory body like RBI or SEBI. I mean, there's always a journey which is associated, right? So I want to visualize the data first. I mean, that is my first use cases where I want to understand. So whatever the evolution that I talked about, the same applies to the pattern in which an organization also will start becoming like data driven, right? The digital enterprises. So I would like to have a visibility into my data first. That is the foremost importance, right? Then once I have the visibility into my data, how around the operation side of it, then I start looking at the productivity side of it, right? I mean, what should I do within my business to enhance those productivity? So then comes the set of use cases which will be more on the marketing side of it, or it would be more on the operational side of it, or it would be more on the exploratory data science side of it, right? And once I have started looking into those operational side, then I start making the transformation level decision, where I would say that now I know my customer end to end. I know his social behavior. I know his network. I know his personal information, where he stays, what likes, dislikes he's having, what kind of comments he's making on the social media, and based on that, I know what offers or what kind of buying patterns I could expect from a given customer, right? What risk he carries, right? So those kind of use cases starts coming out from a customer. And when I say customer, I mean, it can vary from industry to industry, right? So in a telco world, a customer is a subscriber who is using a phone. In a health world, it could be a patient, right? And in a legal world, or rather, I would say in a law enforcement agencies, it could be a criminal, right? I mean, because now I'm focusing entire analytics to find a criminal. So the customer should not be taken as a literal customer, but it is always that point where I'm focusing my insights to be extracted, right? And that's where I start looking at the multiple level of use cases, I mean, which will drive my business. So the important point is that when I want to become data driven, I mean, when the industries want to become data driven, they always have challenges, right? I mean, see, artificial intelligence sits at the top, where if I remove my manual interference in making decisions and I make it AI enabled, I mean, actually I'm at the pinnacle of my business, right? And the only thing is I have to ensure that those decisions are correct. But reaching to that pinnacle is not easy, because AI is where I'm automating the decision. But if I just backtrack the decision-making process, I mean, it involves machine learning, it involves data science, but data science is the predictive side of it. But I also want to first store the data, right? So I need to analyze the data, I need to store the data somewhere. And when I store the data, the rate at which the data is coming in, I mean, we know whether it's social media, whether it's a regular enterprises CRM system and all, I mean, the amount of data is only increasing, right? The volume, variety, and the veracity, I mean, it's only increasing. That's where the big data comes in, right? So that's the kind of pyramid which comes in, right? But to become data driven, it's not easy, and there are a lot of challenges involved. And I'll just tell you what all those challenges are, right? So let's take a customer, and you have seen the problem, right? I mean, in terms of what it requires from to drive the business. But so let's say a problem is given that I want to set up a analytics platform where I want to recommend the customers certain offers or products which are which they have a propensity to buy at a given point in time, and it's applicable to telcos, it's applicable to banking customer like credit cards and all, right? So when I give this problem as a business user, I mean, look at from a technology side, the IT side of it, there would be different personas who would be involved now to deliver that, to solve that problem, business problem, right? And who all those personas are going to be. And trust me, when you start, like when you get into a placement, you might be working into one of these personas, as one of those personas, or you might be the manager of these personas, or you might be heading the function which will fall under these personas. But these are the critical, these are the people who would be helping to solve the enterprises, the problem which has been identified, right? So there would be a data engineer, there would be a BI analyst, there would be a data scientist, right? There would be a data architect, infrastructure manager, and compliance manager. So if I just have to give you a view of it, what these specialized team would do, I mean, each of these guys will have a particular job to be accomplished, right? In the sense, an architect has to take the business problem and design a solution. And he has to design a solution in such a way that it is reliable and the information coming out of that system can be trusted, right? So he wants the data to be correct. So he doesn't want the data to have anomalies, conflict among itself. He's looking for a single source of truth. On the other side, I mean, any platform which would be built need an infrastructure. Infrastructure in the sense there would be servers, industry standard servers which will be installed. There would be a data center in which those servers would be installed, and then the softwares would be installed on top of it, right? So there would be someone who would be managing that entire infrastructure. Now, this solution architect would be working with the business team to understand the business requirement and convert into different mappings, right? And that mappings would need to be built by someone as a processing jobs, and that will fall under the data engineers. And when it comes to start looking into the data in terms of driving the insights, either a BI analyst will fall in or a data scientist will come in, right? A BI analyst will write queries which will try to give you the answer of a diagnostic or a descriptive analytics, typically a questions which will be like, which will have what, why, where, when kind of answers coming out. And the data scientist, which will bring the predictive part of it, right? I mean, now I need to, based on the past pattern, now I want to understand what can happen in the future, right? So I'm picking up those patterns from the data and I'm trying to predict that what is the likelihood of a pattern to occur in the future, right? And that's where the data scientist typically will focus on. And combining all this result, the information which will be consumed will be the app developers who will build an application, and the business user will start consuming those products which will be developed by application developers, right? So kind of these different personas will set in, and these are the guys who are marrying the technology now with the business problem which has been identified. Now the problem happens is when all these personas comes in, right? I mean, there is always a conflict in the demands, right? I mean, a data engineer will focus on a different aspect of a problem versus a BI analyst versus a data scientist, right? And infrastructure manager is not worried about whether an app developer is able to build the application or not. His only focus is to ensure that his infrastructure is running at scale, okay? And he's able to meet the business demand as possible, right? And there's a compliance managers to ensure that since they are handling the customer data, which is very sensitive in nature and it's regulated by data privacy laws, right? He is able to ensure that there is no malicious users who are playing with the customer data and using it for inappropriate work, right? So in that sense, all these users personas have a conflicting demand. So while I'm focusing on SLAs, BI analyst is only looking at to run the query, ad hoc query, and get resources to complete those particular SQL queries, right? So there's always a conflicting demand which is happening. And if I start combining all these together, right? I mean, the use cases that we talked about, the different personas that we talked about, essentially what we are looking at is what enterprises are looking at is that to solve this business problem, am I able to deploy my solution on any infrastructure, right? Because when you look at from a business side, they are looking for an agility, they are looking for a flexibility in terms of acquiring the hardware and validate their hypothesis, right? So imagine that somebody says that my sales is going down on in XYZ region is because certain products are not being developed at a right time, right? And somebody has built that hypothesis. Now this hypothesis need to be built and validated, right, using the data, and it has to be supported. So either I build a complete analytics, or I quickly have a self-service way to take the raw data, churn it, massage it, run a query, get the output, and just destroy that environment, because it's a very transient in nature, right? So depending upon the different kind of workloads, I may end up putting up a heavy infrastructure, or I may be inclined towards using the cloud, right? I mean, the cloud is all about the availability of the infrastructure, which can help you to make quick decisions. So one of the important element is that can I have a cloud element involved? The other one is the multifunction, right? So now I'm looking from a solution which can help you to run all kind of analytics. So if you see, some of the analytics is on the operation side of it, right? I'll cover a real business use case with you, which is for goods and services tax of India. I mean, how they leverage the technology to drive the GST and filing, right? I mean, the invoice filing and all. So I'll talk about that, but operational insight is a very important element. So either a streaming analytics, or a data warehouse, or a operational side of it, or a machine learning, right? I mean, there are different ways to consume the data. Can I have a single platform to deliver that? The third and the most important is open in nature. So imagine if it's a closed platform, right? Let's say it's a proprietary platform. It could be Oracle, it could be IBM, it could be SaaS. But to learn those proprietary technologies, a student like us, right? I mean, if I have to go 16 years back, I would sign up for a organization, a training institute, and I'll pick up that training unless it is part of my curriculum, right? But if it is open source, I mean, the entire literature is available online. So I just have to log in, put up the keyword, let's say Hadoop. And if I start reading about Hadoop, there would be tons of literature available online. There would be videos available who can help you to do hands-on. So open source platform really helps you to pick it up, right? And that's where the world is also moving, because that A, helps you innovation, and B, it helps the easy consumption, because there is a skilled labor which is already available to implement that technology. And the foremost important is the security and governance, right? So whatever I do with the technology, at the end of the day, I'm still playing with the data. So from a compliance point of view, from a risk and fraud point of view, I need to ensure that the data is secured and governed, right? I don't want any mishaps happening with the data. And at the end of the day, I find myself into a situation where I have to pay the penalties. For example, I'll just give you imagine like for a telco, they manage the call data records, right? And each call that we are making, a telco is storing that. Now, if that CDR gets leaked, one call data records get leaked, TRA has put penalties on these telcos, right? So it is in the interest of the organization to ensure that the CDRs are not leaked outside, and it is only accessible to the right authorities, right, or the law enforcement agencies. If one CDR gets leaked to the non-authorized person, what I learned is that the telco has to pay somewhere around 50 CR, which is a huge penalty, right? So imagine if one CDR gets unauthorized access, right? I mean, the amount of outflow that I have to spend from the pocket. So organization ensures that there is a complete nuts and bolts and security frameworks in place to ensure that there is no data leakage happening, right? And the reason I'm bringing all these elements together, because at the end of the day, you may not be doing everything, but you will get aligned to some of these elements. Either you would be working on the cloud side of it, or analytics side of it, or on the security and the compliance side of it. So all these needs need to be understood very well. So coming back, right? So there's a technology, there are personas, there are business problems. And there's a business side of it, there's an IT side of it. IT is nothing but the technology. So how these people are trying to solve these problems, right? So while the business is looking at from the agility and flexibility, that how quickly I can get insights from the data, IT wants to have a kind of control on the entire environment, right? IT doesn't want to allow business to do things on their own. They want the business team to always come through them, and then the IT delivering those requirements. There is a reason for it, because IT is the team who manages the infrastructure. They are the people who manages the security and governance. They are the people who are responsible for the entire compliance side of it, right? So they don't want that any wrong thing happens, which will create a problem at the enterprise level. So it's always a conflicting scenario between business and IT. So when it gets involved too much on the IT side of it, which are heavily control, which are trying to control everything, what IT will put up is a one size, a monolithic architecture in front of the business team, saying that you take this platform and it will solve all your problem, right? But what business will not get is the agility. They will not get the flexibility to run analytics on quick fashion, right? Something which a cloud providers enable very easily. Now, if we see from a business side of it, since they are like too much dependent on the IT, and the turnaround time is very high, business team also take decision to buy certain things, right? And that's where the shadow IT point solutions start coming in, where I might be investing in a very point solution, which is a jazzy framework, some drag and drops, and it started giving me analysis as soon as I start throwing data to it. But the problem with this approach is that the IT will lose control. So while business is able to manage the insights, or maybe one particular function is able to extract the insights, but if all the functions like HR, sales, engineering, product, marketing, they start putting all their solution on their own, the IT would be kind of in soup, because now there's so many siloed solution being deployed, it becomes difficult to manage, right? So again, too much on the business side will not help to solve the problem. And now if I look at the other challenges which are surrounding, I mean, data silos I already talked about, right? I mean, which is kind of like different functions managing their own sources, own data sets. There's also a new element, which is like we call new data sources, big data terminologies, new data sources which has come in, like I talked about the click stream, the data where when you open a website and you make clicks, I mean, that data also captures a lot of information about your interest pattern, right? I mean, to what extent you go onto a website, what are the clicks you are doing. So click stream is a very important data. Transaction records, social media, GPS location, I mean, all these data, or the textual data, or the comments that we are writing on a WhatsApp or a Facebook, everything is very important. So these new data sources are again kind of helping in the decision-making process. The technology limitation, like storing the data or running the compute on top of it. I mean, these are kind of the challenges which are there on top of the personas need that we talked about, right? And the summarization that I discussed earlier. So kind of what we are looking at is somewhere a solution who can help to resolve all this problem, where I'm able to meet the business demands, at the same time I'm able to balance the need of the IT team also. And that's where the the answer lies, right? So I want to provide a centralized control. At the same time, I need to provide a customized environment or a framework which can be easily consumed by the data engineers. It could be easily consumed by the app developers or the BI analysts or data scientists, right? At the same time, my data architects have a single source of truth. My infrastructure managers are not worried about the scale of the data at which is coming in. It's scalable, and the security is also come under the single umbrella. And that's where we fit in, right? I mean, you might be wondering what Cloudera does. That's exactly what we do for our bread and butter. So we build that platform which kind of balance among these both, right? So in nutshell, what I've talked about is our data goes through a different different steps throughout its life cycle. So someone will be generating the data, someone will be enriching the data, then someone will be consuming that data in form of reports, someone will be consuming that data in form of operational insights, and someone will be running the prediction on top of it, right? And all needs to happen on a secured, governed framework. So that's kind of a nutshell of when we talk about enabling enterprises to become data driven. I mean, that's a kind of life cycle that any organization will follow, right? And what is important for you all to look at is that where exactly you want to go and start applying the knowledge that you're building. You might start on the data engineering side of it. You may become a data warehouse expert, or you may become a data scientist. So there are different personas as we talked about. But then at certain point in time, these personas will be a result of the knowledge that you're acquiring in your current academics. And that's where the Cloudera platform comes in. I mean, I'm not going in the detail of it, but kind of what we have learned and apply the business problem and the technology to blend together to solve the real customer needs. These are the different form factors. So again, I will not go into the details, but let me bring a use case for you, which might interest. So, I mean, I would need a response to this at least. So how many of you know GSTN? I mean, let me see if I can see your hands.
I know.
You know, what's the full form of it?
Good sales tax.
Right. So that's an initiative which was taken by Government of India to remove the VAT, right? I mean, there were different state tax and VAT which were there, and they centralize it in form of a goods and services tax, right? So all these come under one umbrella, right? Is there a question for me? All right. So look at from a GSTN perspective, and these are not my stats; these are coming straight from the GSTN team. So they're almost like it's a bit old data, because before the COVID, we did a joint presentation where they shared this information with us. So there are almost 1.2 crores, 1.20 crores registered taxpayer on it, right? And the return filed, I mean, in terms of amount, in terms of the numbers that these registered taxpayers are filing is 43.88 crores, right? And the payments are like 13.64. And if you start seeing the amount that is being handled by the GSTN system, I mean, it's just mesmerizing. I mean, the scale is very, very high. So if you know this, the way the flow happens, right? I mean, there are different platform through which the consumers are interacting with the GSTN platform, right? I mean, you log in onto the GSTN portal and then you file your invoices, right? I mean, so what is happening in the backend? I mean, have you ever thought about it? I mean, there's a technology which is supporting this entire system. So let me decipher that for you, right? I mean, this is the architecture of GSTN. This is a solution stack. So there is a web portal, right? I mean, so definitely a web server would be involved. There would be API gateways. There would be infrastructure running some operating system. and then some databases. So I use the term RDBMS, you remember? I mean, so there are databases which would be leveraged in a solution. Then there are Hadoop and big data technologies, which will be there like HBase, HDFS. Then there are streaming requirements, message bus, which is coming in terms of Kafka. Then if I want to do a analysis on the streaming data, I might look for a Storm technology, right? And Redis is an in-memory database. So I mean, imagine the kind of technology combination that I'm bringing in together and enabling to solve that business problem that I was talking about. And in this case, it's an operational analytics use case where I'm like, I'm enabling the taxpayers to file the taxes online, right? And once they file the taxes, there's a backend analytics which will happen because the invoices will be calculated, the whatever the terminologies are, right? I mean, in terms of the refunds or the input credits, I mean, that goes back to the merchant. I mean, all that gets calculated right at the backend, right? I mean, it's all centralized. And this system is talking to the banks, it's talking to the Reserve Bank of India, it's talking to CBDT, CBDT is the Central Bureau of Direct Tax, MC is the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Aadhaar, you know, right? So, I mean, all these systems are interacting with each other and the amount of information which gets shared, right? So look at, I mean, there's a business problem which GSTN is solving, but at the end of the day, technology is what is enabling it. So, that's how the things are driven, right? I mean, there's a like a marriage which happens between the technology and the business side of it. And if I just start double clicking that stack, you will see a person is uploading a return, and that return gets filed as a PDF or whatever it is, but in the backend it generates a JSON file. JSON is a file format, and it gets submitted to a queue. Queue is nothing but a Kafka broker which is holding that information, right? And now once that information gets into the queue, there would be some processor or processing unit which will come and pick the data from the queue. It will apply some analytics and push it into the backend database. And that's exactly what is happening in this payload. So yeah.
आप बीच में हिंदी में भी डायलॉग कर सकते हैं।
बिल्कुल सर, बिल्कुल। तो कहने का मुद्दा ये था कि अगर आप जीएसटीएन को थोड़ा सा अनलॉक करोगे और आप देखोगे तो जीएसटीएन का जो प्रॉब्लम है, जो भी प्रॉब्लम आपने देखा जो टैक्स फाइल करने का, उसको आप टेक्नोलॉजी से कैसे सॉल्व कर रहे हो, राइट? तो द आइडिया ऑफ दिस एंटायर प्रेजेंटेशन इज कि आप ये देखिए कि जो आप सीख रहे हैं और जहां आप इसको अप्लाई करेंगे वो हमेशा एक मतलब, let me take a step back. Necessity is the mother of all invention, we always say, right? So it's not the technology which is driving the necessity, it's the necessity which is driving the technology. So you will always see a technology is getting evolved because my needs around the business side is changing, right? So you always have to keep updating yourself. So it's very important to understand कि आप जो सीख रहे हो उसको आप कैसे रियल वर्ल्ड में अप्लाई करोगे, पहला। दूसरा, आप जो सीख रहे हो उसमें आपको क्या सीखना जरूरी है, क्या मुझे टेक्नोलॉजी की ABCD पता होनी चाहिए या मुझे उसका कॉन्सेप्ट पता होना चाहिए। तो आपको ये समझ में आना चाहिए कि एक प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करने के लिए मुझे क्या फंक्शनैलिटी यूज करनी है और वो किस टेक्नोलॉजी से कैसे मिल रही है। तो जब आप इन चीजों को समझने लगोगे तो आप जब कॉलेज से बाहर निकल के बिजनेस साइड पे जाओगे, मतलब एक जॉब करना स्टार्ट करोगे, तो probably you'll be able to do justice with whatever you are learning here and applying to solve the real problems, and probably you will be able to innovate at much better speed than what we have done, क्योंकि हम लोग के पास ऐसे लोग नहीं थे जो हमें गाइड कर सकते थे, right? So with that, I think I'm pretty much done with my what I wanted to share. I hope it was helpful. Now, like, I'll open it for Q&A if there is anything you want to talk about or ask with me.
Thank you very much, Piyush sir. It was a really very knowledge-gaining session, and I think you have touched all the recent areas in business intelligence, big data analytics, and I think the map for getting career into the business intelligence or how to handle big data in terms of having, you can say, the sort of clouds and the kind of data it is going all over the world through this web nets and all. So I think the session was very knowledge gaining. Now this session is open for question and answer. अब अगर आप किसी को कोई क्वेश्चन पूछना हो तो अग्रवाल सर आपका क्वेश्चन आंसर करेंगे. You can use any mode of language, either as in Hindi or English.
You can use Marathi also. Marathi आंसर नहीं करूंगा, आंसर हिंदी में करूंगा. कोई सवाल नहीं है.
So one question is there from my side. I think in the second slide itself, you have given a hint that to have a sort of business analytics with the help of customer experience management. So I think that is a very buzzword. Means what type of practices are there to make a sort of data analysis with the help of having customer experience? So in what way the industries are looking toward the customer, the sort of requirement engineering will be having for it as a client or as a developer, you are going to have the dialogue in between them. So could you please highlight what is basically customer experience management?
बहुत बहुत बढ़िया सवाल है आपका, कस्टमर एक्सपीरियंस. क्योंकि एट द एंड ऑफ द डे जब मैंने बताया आपको कि किसी भी बिजनेस को रन करने के लिए कस्टमर को एक्वायर करना पहला एस्पेक्ट होता है एंड कस्टमर को जुड़े रहना उस बिजनेस से सेकेंड एस्पेक्ट होता है. तो कोई भी कस्टमर, जैसे आज की डेट में अगर हम अपने आप को देखते हैं, तो अगर मैं एक फोन यूज करता हूँ, वोडाफोन या एयरटेल का कनेक्शन यूज करता हूँ, एंड मैं टेलको के हिसाब से बता रहा हूँ, बट इट अप्लाइज टू एवरीवन एवरीवेयर. मैं एयरटेल की सर्विस से अगर खुश नहीं होऊंगा तो मैं दूसरी सब्सक्राइब मतलब नेटवर्क के ऊपर चला जाऊंगा, राइट. तो ये वोडाफोन, लेट्स से अगर मैं वोडाफोन का यूजर हूँ, तो वोडाफोन के लिए समझना जरूरी है कि अगर मैं उसको महीने का 10,000 का बिजनेस दे रहा हूं तो क्या मैं उसकी सर्विस से खुश हूं या नहीं हूं. तो मेरा एक्सपीरियंस विद द सर्विसेज दैट अ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन इज प्रोवाइडिंग इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एंड आई एम टॉकिंग फ्रॉम अ कस्टमर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, राइट. सो नाउ वोडाफोन और एनी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हैज टू अंडरस्टैंड ऑल द डायमेंशन ऑफ माय इंटरेस्ट एंड हैज टू इंश्योर कि मेरा एक्सपीरियंस उनके नेटवर्क पे कैसे बढ़ेगा, अच्छा होगा, राइट. तो वो जितने डेटा पॉइंट्स होते हैं टू अंडरस्टैंड माय बिहेवियर, माय ट्रांजैक्शन. सो एक होता है ट्रांजैक्शन साइड ऑफ इट, जो डेटा जनरेट हो रहा है, जो कॉल का पैटर्न है, कब कॉल करता हूँ, कैसे कॉल करता हूँ, कितनी देर की कॉल करता हूँ, कहाँ कॉल करता हूँ, इंटरनेशनल करता हूँ या रोमिंग का या एसटीडी करता हूँ या लोकल करता हूँ. तो वो मुझे ऐसा प्लान बनाने की कोशिश करके देगा जिससे कि जो मेरी रिक्वायरमेंट है वो मीट हो रही है, एट द सेम टाइम मेरा जो पैसा जा रहा है वोडाफोन को वो कम हो रहा है. तो वोडाफोन क्या देखेगा कि मैं कस्टमर के मुताबिक उसको सर्विसेज दे रहा हूँ, तो जब वो देगा तो मेरा एक्सपीरियंस अपने आप बढ़िया रहेगा. तो जितना भी ये डेटा आता है जो अलग अलग जगह से कलेक्ट होता है, तो कोई भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन यही देखती है कि मैं उस डेटा को यूज करके वो एक्सपीरियंस कैसे प्रोवाइड करूंगा. इट्स अ थोड़ा एलोंगेटेड आंसर, बट मैंने आपको एक रियल सिनेरियो के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से समझाने की कोशिश की विदाउट यूजिंग द जार्गन्स.
थैंक यू सर, बहुत अच्छा एक्सप्लेनेशन दिया आपने. आई थिंक वन क्वेश्चन इज देयर फ्रॉम प्रज्ञा शेट्टी. शी वांट्स टू आस्क हाउ वी कैन अंडरस्टैंड कस्टमर्स बेटर इन एनी बिजनेस. कस्टमर को कैसा समझा जाए?
बढ़िया सवाल है. तो किसी को भी समझने के लिए उसके बारे में जानना जरूरी है. अब अगर मैं जानने की बात करूं, जैसे आप अपने आप को देखिए, जब आप लोगों से मिलते हो तो आपका ब्रेन एक्ट एज अ कंप्यूटर, राइट. यू स्टार्ट कलेक्टिंग द इंफॉर्मेशन अबाउट दैट पर्सन. उसका नाम क्या है, उसका एज क्या है, उसके साथ आप बात करते हो तो आप समझते हो कि उसकी सोच कैसी है, उसका टेस्ट कैसा है, उसको क्या पसंद है क्या नापसंद है, राइट. तो ये आपका ब्रेन काम करता है इस तरीके से. Now imagine the same thing if I want to automate it, right? I want to make the digital side of it. अगर मुझे यही चीज को अब ह्यूमन से उठा के एक मुझे मशीन को बोलना है, तो मैं क्या करूंगा? सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है, जैसा मेरा ब्रेन इंफॉर्मेशन को कैप्चर कर रहा है, वैसे ही मैं ये भी चाहूंगा कि मैं डेटा कलेक्शन के सोर्सेज डिफाइन करूंगा. सो आई विल स्टार्ट कैप्चरिंग द इंफॉर्मेशन अबाउट माई कस्टमर. तो कुछ चीजें तो बहुत सिस्टम से मिल जाती हैं. जब मैंने एक सिस्टम सेटअप किया, जैसे बैंकिंग सिस्टम, तो आप बैंकिंग में अपना केवाईसी डिटेल देते हो, आपके ट्रांजैक्शन होते हैं, एक आपका अकाउंट डिटेल होता है, आपका एड्रेस होता है, तो बहुत सारी इंफॉर्मेशन बाय डिफॉल्ट एक एंटरप्राइज को मिल जाती है. तो ये डेटा पॉइंट्स होते हैं. बट कुछ एक डेटा सोर्सेज ऐसे होते हैं जो आपके बैंक से डायरेक्टली नहीं जुड़े. आई एम यूजिंग अ बैंक एज अ रेफरेंस है, बट वो अवेलेबल है फेसबुक पे, वो अवेलेबल है व्हाट्सएप पे, वो अवेलेबल है इंस्टाग्राम पे, ट्विटर पे, आप लिखते हो राइट, आप अमेजोन पे कमेंट्स लिखते हो या आप ट्विटर पे कुछ लिखते हो, तो अगर मुझे आपका हैंडल पता है और मैं आपके कमेंट्स को रीड कर रहा हूँ तो मुझे आपकी सोच के बारे में पता लगेगा। तो ये डेटा सोर्सेस को समझना और उसको कंज्यूम करके उसको चर्न करना है, फिर उसमें एनालिटिक्स करना इज वेयर आई विल ट्राई टू गेन मोर इन्फॉर्मेशन, राइट? सो in the end, the answer is that there should be different points through which I can collect the data about my customers that I'm interested in. And either it is coming from my organization or it is coming from the outside public domain. But all those, so data collection about an individual is a very important step to get this journey started.
All right, sir. Another question is there from Pooja Kapure, and I think she wants to ask regarding the AI bots, means how the data can be driven using AI bots. Any kind of example you can elaborate onto that?
बहुत बढ़िया सवाल है ये भी। तो एआई तो मैंने आपको जैसे समझाया कि एक मेरा एनालिसिस होता है जिसमें मैं क्या हुआ, कैसे हुआ, कब हुआ, क्यों हुआ, वो सब समझता हूँ, जिसको हम टिपिकली बिजनेस इंटेलिजेंस बोलते हैं, और विच गिव्स मी अ डायग्नोस्टिक एंड डिस्क्रिप्टिव एनालिटिक्स। एक साइड होता है जो डेटा साइंस एंड एमएल का पार्ट होता है, जिसमें वी स्टार्ट बेस्ड ऑन द प्रीवियस पैटर्न्स, आई स्टार्ट मेकिंग hypothesis and I start making predictions, right? वो डेटा साइंस से निकल के आता है। तो जब मैं इस प्रिडिक्शन को अप्लाई करने लगता हूं तो बिना ह्यूमन इंटरेक्शन के, तो वो आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस होता है, जो मैंने आपको अपने प्रेजेंटेशन में भी बताया। अब इसका एक यूज केस लेते हैं। मैंने ड्राइवर वाला बताया था, बट प्रोबेबली आई विल टेक अनदर एग्जांपल। जैसे चैटबॉट्स देखते हैं आप लोग, राइट? तो चैटबॉट में बहुत बड़ा आजकल हर वेबसाइट पे when आप लॉग इन करोगे तो सबसे पहले एक पॉपअप हो जाएगा कि हाउ आई कैन हेल्प यू, राइट? तो आप कुछ उस पे एंटर करोगे तो somebody is reading that text which you are entering, there is a machine which is reading it. Based on that text that you are entering, that machine is running a NLP processes, right? So it's dividing the entire sentence into tokens, it's trying to understand the meaning of that sentence, and then based on that understanding which is already been trained on the past data or whatever the data that the organization has provided, it starts responding, right? कि आपको क्या चाहिए। तो there is a certain workflows which has been designed. तो artificial intelligence is all about it कि मैं मेरे previous behavior को कैसे implement करूं to make my future decisions, and that is without humans underneath it. So artificial intelligence is all about that. Hope I answered the question.
Yes, sir. सर एक सवाल और एक मेरी तरफ से है। अभी YouTube में बहुत सारा वीडियोस जाता है, वहां से बहुत सारे लोग अपना वीडियोस वहां से लाइक करते हैं, डिसलाइक करते हैं। तो उसमें एक रिकमेंडर सिस्टम होता है। एक बार समझो मैं अभी आपके क्लाउडेरा के वीडियोस देख रहा हूँ और उसको मैं एक 2 आवर्स, मोर देन 2 आवर्स के उसके बियॉन्ड देखता हूँ। तो मैं जब भी कभी YouTube खोलता हूँ तो वहां पर एक रिकमेंडेड वीडियोस बोल के एक स्लॉट आता है।
बिल्कुल।
तो वो क्या है सर, उसमें क्या बिजनेस इंटेलिजेंस है?
बिल्कुल। तो सी, तो एट द एंड ऑफ द डे ये वही चीज है जो मैंने अभी आपको बताई कि जब आप लॉग इन करते हो, इनफैक्ट लॉग इन करते हो तो आप जो भी एक्टिविटी कर रहे हो, क्लिक कर रहे हो यूट्यूब पे, वो क्लिक रिकॉर्ड होता है। वो क्लिक आपने जो किया, आपने जो वीडियो देखा, वो रिकॉर्ड होता है। वो यूट्यूब वाला स्टोर कर रहा है आपके अपने खुद के सिस्टम पे, सर्वर पे। अब उसको ये पता है कि जब राउत सर आते हैं और वो 2 घंटे क्रिकेट के वो वीडियोस देखते हैं, स्पेशली इंडिया पाकिस्तान के, आई एम जस्ट गिविंग एन एग्जांपल। तो अब उसको पता है कि लेट मी ट्राई टू पुट सर्टेन मैचेस इन फ्रंट ऑफ राउत सर व्हिच आर लाइक quite from the past and they are like real gold matches, right? तो वो रिकमेंडेशन वैसे आएगा, क्योंकि मुझे अब ये समझ में आ गया कि दिन के 2 घंटे राउत सर का क्रिकेट देखते हैं इंडिया पाकिस्तान का, तो प्रोबेबली there is an X number of content which is sitting around between India and Pakistan, which Raut sir is not available. But I know because it is in my database, so why not I send that data to Raut sir and see if whether he would be interested in. And that's where the entire data science is playing in and the analysis playing. I mean the SQL analysis plays in. Sorry.
All right, sir. Thank you.
तो it's always about the data, sir. It's always about the data. In fact, अगर आप देखें तो अभी अगर आप अपने, आपको एक बहुत सिंपल सा यूज केस बताता हूँ। आप अगर अपना फोन अपने पास रखते हो और अगर आप कोई बात कर रहे हैं, तो जैसे आप बोले कि मुझे घूमने के लिए कहीं जाना है, प्रोबेबली हिमाचल जाना है, शिमला जाना है, तो आप देखेंगे कई बार आपके एड्स आने लगेंगे फेसबुक पे या कहीं और पे, क्योंकि आपका फोन भी सुन रहा है। योर फोन इज ऑलवेज इन लिसनिंग मोड, राइट? बिकॉज वो लिसन कर रहा है, तो वो बैकएंड सर्वर पे डेटा भेज रहा है, और वो डेटा इज बीइंग शेयर्ड बिटवीन दी एनी ऑफ द ad providers, and they will send you the service. And that's a big you can say a nexus also between the organization and consumer, and that's how you meet the demand and supply, right? तो अब उनको ये पता है कि एक लीड जनरेट हो रहा है, somebody is talking about going on a vacation in Himachal, so let me start working with the book my show, sorry, booking.coms और make my trip, and उनको उससे रिलेटेड होटल में फेसबुक पे एड की तरह दिखा देता हूँ या यूट्यूब पे दिखा देता हूँ. So all these are the ways to like again the grow customer base, to be precise.
Yes. Is any other questions from the participant? Anything you want to share, you want to ask with Mr. Piyush sir?
Anything. I mean, technology shouldn't be the criteria. I mean, I was also an engineer 16 years back when I started. So कुछ भी अगर आपको पूछना है, समझना है, so more than happy to share. And in fact, I've got my email address also, so you can drop me an email. There's a LinkedIn profile I've shared, so feel free to get in touch.
All right, sir. Hope there are the questions that have been satisfied with the kind of presentation you have. So I think with this meet, I think our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Madam, has also got added in this meeting. So anything you want to share, ask, Madam? Respected Vice Chancellor, Madam.
Hello.
Yes, Madam.
Hello, everyone. So it's a very good thing that with Piyush, all my students, my staff have joined for this particular session, and I hope they have enjoyed a lot, because from many meetings we are talking about the internship as well as various issues which is related to big data analysis as well as artificial intelligence. So I hope Piyush must have enjoyed with all my staff, and there will be definitely many questions, but they may come through email or some chat box. So we will send it to you. I think I'm more concerned about the program which we can take up for the students as a apprenticeship or training sessions, maybe with your company or with any company which is really good experience for the students in coming years. So I hope that if that will materialize in coming years, we are also thinking about one term like 6 months, or maybe out of that 6 months, 3 or 4 months for internship or training period for the system which we are planning as a you can say the course design for all the schools. And definitely this is a upcoming area. Our students and all the system is really very much supposed to be the part and parcel of this particular issues. So whatever the Piyush told, I think that will be of a high use to all my staff members as well as the students. So from my side, thank you very much. Otherwise, in coming days, I think I can request him once again to join with my staff and students. There will be other students also from the colleges, from engineering colleges, as well as the other colleges, which is they have already started this computational science. One thing I would like to tell that they are from rural and agriculture area, so they are also trying to have the use of such technology in agri-based industries. The customer care and all that, I think these issues will be important in coming years. So thank you very much, Piyush, because a lot of things my student must have learned. and we will be in touch with you. My staff will also be in touch with you. So this type of engagements, this type of discussions will be definitely helpful. So have a good luck and thank you.
Sure, ma'am. I'm really like thank you from bottom of my heart for giving me this opportunity. I mean, it's really a great feeling to be back among the students and share the experiences and the learnings which has been acquired, right? So, really, thanks to you and your staff for having me here.
Thank you.
Thank you, respected madam. Thank you, PS sir. Now we are at the end of this knowledge gaining webinar. I am here to propose a vote of thanks on behalf of the School of Computer Sciences Organizing Committee. First of all, I would like to express my word of gratitude towards our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Mrunalini Phadanwis Madam, who is a great source of our motivation to carry education, research, and development for the betterment of society. Under the kind guidance of respected Madam, we could be able to organize such a knowledge-gaining webinars for our learned students. I am thankful to Dr. D.N. Mishra Sir, Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor, for their guidance to organize this webinar. I am thankful to Professor Dr. V.B. Gute Sir, Honorable Director and In-Charge Registrar, for hosting this webinar and guidance given to organize this webinar in a fruitful manner. I am glad that Mr. Piyush Agrawal Sir from South Asia at Cloudera, Mumbai has accepted our invitation. I would like to express my thankfulness toward Mr. Piyush Sir for sparing his valuable time to address these participant viewers with the recent advances in business intelligence and big data analytics. Thanks a lot, sir, for such a knowledge gaining session. I am grateful to Dr. R.S. Menthe sir, Head Department of Computer Application, and Professor A.R. Shinde sir, Head Department of Computer Science, Dr. J.D. Thenge Masari Madam, Head Department of Mathematics, Professor C.G. Gardi, Department of Statistics, and all their colleague members for being part of this organizing committee. Last but not least, I would like to thank all participant students, viewers for joining this webinar on business intelligence and big data analytics. Thank you one and all. With the prior permission of our Honorable Vice Chancellor, I declare that this webinar is over now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Raut sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.